Now, if you want to estimate the amount of water required for a water feature, then what you can do is grab your hose. If you want to get a 10-litre bucket, you can fill a 10-litre bucket up and time how long it takes to fill that 10-litre bucket up, and that will give you an estimation of your flow rate. Here in Sydney, our water pressure tends to be about 3,000 litres an hour. That is not strictly correct, but it'll give us some sort of guide. So what we're doing at the moment is just playing around with this water feature to see what 3,000 litres an hour or estimated is going to create as a feature. And from that you can estimate what size pump to put on a water feature like this. So if that's got an estimation of 3,000 litres an hour, you're probably going to need more like, you're probably going to have to level it a little bit better, and you're probably going to need more like, say, 8,000, 10 and 9,000 to get a full. Now, if you are estimating the amount of water flow that a fountain needs, it's very important to level the fountain, which would be quite easy by putting shims underneath, but also you need to bear in mind the hose that you've got. So this is the hose here expected to run this waterfall, and there's no way that hose there is going to pump enough water to run this feature, assuming you wanted the water to go all the way around it. So this is a non-functional water feature, and there was actually a very powerful pump. Now this is a very powerful pump, more like it's actually pumping 7,500. So a 7,500 litre pump would probably run that feature, but it would not do it with that tiny thin hose. You'd need to have much thicker hose in order to pass that much water through it, in order for this to be actually a functioning water feature. So this is all fashion, no function. Now, having a feature like this without fish, unless you're going to chlorinate it, which I would not do, really for me is not an option, because if you look carefully through this water, there are mozzie wrigglers everywhere, and I absolutely hate mosquitoes. So my passion in life is not to have any mosquitoes or give them any sort of advantage. So if this was a water feature, even if you didn't want fish, even if you threw just a few little fish in there and you did not feed them, they would not require food, because the natural food they get, especially through things like mosquito larvae, would be enough to keep the fish healthy. You do want to be watching the fish over a period of time. If you do notice them getting really skinny, then bring a little video of the setup down to Majestic Aquariums and we can look at it, or even a little sample of water, and we can make sure the fish are okay. But for a situation like this, your two main options would either be just chuck a couple of goldfish in there, and if you don't see any mosquito larvae, then they've done their job. And then mountain clouds would be another option. And once again, these fish will only propagate to the point that they create their own biological capacity. But for me, a setup like this without fish, it just isn't an option. I'm not giving mosquitoes any sort of leg up on me, that's for sure. And the kids will love watching the fish anyway. So we've just gone and emptied out this top section, and we've just attached on a little fountain just so that can become a little bit of the feature. But what we did find is that the connection through the center is basically only about that thick. So we don't really have the option, without modifying this unit, to put a larger nozzle in. So what we just need to decide now is, do we run a dirty run pump and then set this up so this feature goes and we don't have to worry about cleaning the filter? Or do we look at a non-dirty run pump? That way we can put like a large sponge pre-filter on it. So now we've got an amount of biological and mechanical filtration. Or do we go one step further and get something that's got a UV sterilizer and a pre-filter and a biological built in? That way you've got the UV sterilizer, which will help to clear up your water as well. Because obviously being out here in the elements with full sun means that we're going to get a fair bit of algae just because of natural sunlight. You're not going to be able to keep up with it. And there are various products you can look at using, such as the water cleanser. And what the water cleanser will do is it's a block, you throw it in there, and it allows the formation of what's called OEMs, or oil-eating microorganisms, to come alive and polish the water and compete with the algae, which helps to break down a lot of your sediment and sludge through the bottom of the pond. And it also helps to compete with the algae, so it does help to clear the water. So doing a big water change on here is definitely going to help. Adding a very small stock of fish is definitely going to help. Replacing the pump once you've decided a dirty run or a non-dirty run pump, and then away you go, and this feature should look beautiful for a very, very long time. Once again, particularly because you're going to need an electrician to install it, you really want to buy good quality stuff. Don't go buying cheap stuff, because getting the electrician out to refit it is going to bummer up any money and disappointment that you may have by buying a cheaper brand.